Now, my next guest's life will never be the same again. In May, he became the youngest person in the country to run a council at the age of just 29. He is James Alexander, leader of the City of York Council.
Right.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
What a year.
Yes, indeed.
How does it feel now as we're sort of at the end of it, looking back?
Well, I think I still feel that I'm settling in, to be honest. I'm learning a huge amount. It is a lot of pressure, but, me and my colleagues are in a good position to actually put into practice what we've been talking about for so many years.
What was it like when you realised you got the job? Was there sort of a particular moment that you remember thinking, yes, I've nailed this?
There was two moments on the polling day, which I felt very good about. But a lot of people said, why are you not celebrating? Why are you not happy? And I thought, well, I want to see what the numbers are. I want to see what the votes actually cast are. And the two moments were when I got my personal vote in Holgate, because it was a very marginal ward, and I got a very high vote. I was very pleased at that. But also when we won the Westfield ward, which had been Liberal Democrat for 38 years, and it was a huge turnaround.
It is okay to feel proud of yourself, isn't it? I mean, maybe we should do that more. Are we a bit self-deprecating as a nation?
We are a bit, and I think I am personally. I'm pleased that my mum's very proud.
That's really interesting. You've always got to see it through somebody else's eyes. Yeah. It's hard to feel it for yourself.
Well, the thing is, it's a job at the end of the day. I mean, I know it's a huge opportunity and not many people get that opportunity, but it's a job and we got to do now, and I've got to do what I've said I would do, and that's where the pressure comes in, and my time in office and my energies are finite. I have to get on with it and do the job.
Which you might have thought then, being young and being the youngest person, we think, we did put quite a lot of research into this at the time, being the youngest council leader in the country. You'd have thought that maybe having youth on your side would be a good thing. Maybe you'd have a bit more energy, because you have to do these long, long days, don't you?
Well, I would think so. I mean, I'm working normally about 8:30 or 9 in the morning till about 9 or 9:30 at night, and sometimes I don't get any breaks in between, and sometimes there's things at weekends. But actually, a lot of people look down on you for being younger, and they don't like the idea of a young person being in a position of responsibility. I think that's a shame, and I try and get away from that. But I have to admit, I'm still the youngest council leader in England, but I was very pleased to find out I was no longer the youngest council leader in the UK. 26-year-old took control of Aberdeen in a by-election a few months ago.
You almost didn't like having that title then?
Well, I did initially, and I thought, this is quite nice. And then I met the leader of Oldham, who's a year older than me, and he technically was the youngest in the country for a few weeks because their annual council was at different times to ours. And he said, I'm really pleased I managed to shake off that tag. And I thought, oh no, I've got this now. I've got to shake it off. And now it's gone.
And now it's gone. How has your life changed then?
It's changed a huge amount. I mean, the decisions that I and my colleagues make on a daily basis now have a huge effect. But we've managed to put into practice a lot of things we were talking about. We managed to reverse £1 million worth of cuts, which was a huge thing for us. And it was a very personal thing for me, putting money back into disabled children's short breaks.
But what about on a personal level, how have things changed? Because, I mean, for one thing, you can't do you could do another job, but you've chosen not to. You make this a full-time job.
I don't think I could afford the time to do so.
What are your working hours like?
The working hours are just huge, and I realise that next year I need to slow down a bit. I can't do as much as I was doing over the last 6 months.
So actually you can't keep going at that pace?
No, I don't think I can.
Why? What's it sort of done to you?
Well, it just makes you very tired. It makes you sometimes be rash. It sometimes makes you not appreciate enough about the complexities of some of the arguments that come forward. But somewhere I need to find a medium ground, because I've pushed the pace, I think, of the council quite far up, but equally some of the officers and staff are struggling with that, and sometimes they need to pull me back as well, so somewhere in the medium will be the right place. So
you've got to look after yourself, because if you don't, you can't do the job.
Yeah, you do.
You crash, then the whole thing crashes.
You do indeed, and I try and make sure that I take the big decisions very much so, and so because of that I have to be in a good order to be able to deal with those situations, which is probably why I need to go on a diet.
Oh, really? So is that one of your things for 2012?
Well, it's always one of my things, but now I'm just eating sandwiches, takeaways, anything I can grab as and when I can, and it's not good, and I think I need to look after my health a bit more. So
that's your New Year resolution?
Yes.
Okay, let's have a look ahead, 2012,
sure.
for York. I mean, we've got this huge big, the 800th anniversary of York getting its Royal Charter, which is, if you like, the birth of democracy, really, isn't it? What's that going to mean for the city? city, do you think?
Well, next year's a massive year for the city. We've got the 800th birthday of having our self-determination powers. We've got the Olympics, obviously, with the torch coming through York. We have a number of large conferences coming here as well. It is going to be a very big and significant year. I'm very much looking forward to it.
But at the same time, it must be getting tougher and tougher to run local services. I mean, for instance, on the Breakfast Show tomorrow, and I'm not going to ask you specifically to comment about this at short notice, but I'm talking to the Alcohol Advisory Service New Roads, who are very, very unhappy about being merged with the Drugs Service. That is just one instance. 2012 is going to be a very difficult year financially.
Hugely. We have to make £22 million worth of savings over the next 2 years, and I've been very open about that. We're receiving a third of reduction of our funding from the council over a 4-year period, and we're taking a 2-year budget. We're trying to have some stability in the system rather than just trying to shave around the edges each year. You cannot do that anymore. We're talking whole-scale transformation of who runs services in York.
So
is it the council? Is it going to be companies? Is it going to be other councils? Is it going to be shared services? A whole plethora of a different mix.
So we're going to be seeing massive job losses. We're going to be seeing massive reduction in services. I mean, and you're the person at the sharp end.
We'll do our best to be able to head off some large reductions and quality of services and so on. I think we should need to do less better rather than actually just try and do everything and then therefore it collapses. But that is clearly a tough decision, because what we're talking about is redefining what the council's for rather than actually saying we're going to continue business as usual.
So it's the whole, as you say, what it's for.
Yeah.
Its whole purpose.
It is.
It's going to be potentially turned on its head.
It is.
And you're the one at the sharp end.
Yes.
You're the one people are going to be having a go at, even if there are issues way outside your control that are contributing to this. I mean, how do you feel about that personally?
Well, it is difficult. I didn't enter politics to be able to administer cuts in, as I see it, the fairest way possible. But at the same time, I would much rather be in control to make sure that we can save those essential services for vulnerable people than being on the sideline shouting that I'm not happy about some of these changes.
We wish you well for 2011.
Wish you well too.
Running the City of York Council, doing what you need to do with your diet.
Thank you.
I'm not making any comment or judgment on that, by the way. And the end of an amazing year for you. So
thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, James Alexander, the leader of the City of York Council. So, as we said, an extraordinary year for him. But what about for you?